Berke arrived in Bukhara with a substantial retinue, moving at an unhurried pace in the late days of April the following year. Dusk was settling in, and summer had just begun. The city, with its dense groves where nightingales sang like something out of a garden of paradise, was cooled by the evening breeze and the gentle murmur of countless irrigation channels winding past the buildings. Musabek, the governor of Bukhara, tall, thin, black-bearded, and resembling a Persian in appearance, rode out with his ceremonial retinue to greet the Khan of the Golden Horde far beyond the western gate, accompanied by the blare of horns and drums. The horns' deep, rasping blasts startled the Kipchak horses, whose ears flattened as they fought to stay calm. After the customary exchange of honorifics, Musabek bowed his head. "My Lord Khan," he said, "allow me to escort your caravan to the palace built especially for you outside the city walls." "Why?" Berke asked. "Are there no temples fitting for us within the city itself?" Musabek hesitated. "There are, of course, palaces and temples worthy of you within the city, but what? The city is dangerous right now," the governor said, bowing his head once more. "Since word came that you were approaching, the townspeople, especially the craftsmen, goldsmiths, and artisans, have been in an uproar. What do they intend to do to me?" "They blame you for their present misery, my lord. Everything we earn goes to the Golden Horde, and we can no longer feed our own families. They say either let the Golden Horde stop exploiting us or destroy us outright." "If they wish to be destroyed," Berke said suddenly, his voice choked low, "that too could be arranged. Are you telling me to fear a band of craftsmen and avoid entering my own city? There's no need to provoke a snarling dog when it might still bite. Better to stop at the outer estate." "No," said Berke. "I will not turn my horse's head out of fear of commoners. Lead the caravan forward, but keep the soldiers marching on both sides." His voice was thick with fury as he gave the order, and it seemed even the mighty Khan of the Golden Horde felt a flicker of unease before the prospect of popular unrest, for his final words came out in barely more than a whisper. Flanked on both sides by rows of soldiers bearing blue-tipped spears and clad in white armor, mounted on sturdy bay horses, the Khan's ceremonial procession passed through the gates. By now, the pitch-black night of the southern lands had fully descended, and stars had begun to flicker across the velvet sky. The procession was led by Governor Musabek and Salamjari. The moment they entered the city, an uneasy dread settled over Berke. Never before, without war or battle, had he witnessed such a fearsome sight. The streets were packed with people. Above their heads burned torches soaked in black oil, and in their hands they gripped long staves. The ground itself seemed to ripple with flame, a river of fire chasing itself down street after street. In the pitch darkness of night, the scene was both magnificent and terrifying. Surrounded by soldiers holding bared swords, the Khan of the Golden Horde advanced at a brisk pace through the narrow street with his retinue. The mounted column split and rode alongside the crowd on either side. Neither the escorted caravan nor the surrounding masses made a sound, only the snorting of horses and the sharp clatter of hooves against packed earth broke the silence. Not a single voice was raised. The two groups moved like watchful dragons, each sizing up the other. What was this? What were they waiting for? If even one voice cried out, if even one blade were raised, the two silent columns, coiled like wolves ready to spring, would tear into each other's throats without hesitation. Just as they reached the open square ahead, Berke's caravan found its path blocked from the right by yet another river of fire surging forward. At its head walked a tall man in white robes, his head wrapped in a blue turban. The governor and Salamjari reined in their horses. The river of fire came to a halt as well. The man in the blue turban stepped forward, separating himself from the crowd. Berke spurred his own horse and rode to the front. "What do you want?" he demanded, his voice tight with tension. "The people have 3 requests, my lord," the tall man said. "Speak them." "Those bound in lifelong servitude are not the same as those who have committed true crimes, murderers, whose fate is death or long imprisonment. Most of those you drive as slaves are elderly, unfit for labor, or ill, closer to the grave than to any useful work. Our first request is that such people be released entirely. They were born free, let them die free as well." "Granted," said Berke, thinking to himself that such people were of no use to anyone regardless. "Our second request," the man continued, looking directly at Berke, "concerns the more than 5,000 goldsmiths, blacksmiths, and craftsmen here, natives of this land. When Genghis Khan first conquered Bukhara, he divided its people among his sons. Those elders have long since passed, but their descendants all have families of their own now. Most of what they earn is swallowed by the Golden Horde's treasury, leaving the people constantly hungry and destitute. We ask, my lord, that you leave us 1/3 of what we earn." "And what of the other Khans?" "We will demand the same of them." "Is this why you've taken up sticks?" Berke asked, surveying the gathered crowd. "If our request is refused, we may be forced to take up something sharper than sticks." Berke studied the crowd once more. The firelight cast a reddish glow across their scowling, furious faces. Yes, he thought, these people truly might take up arms. Their expressions are grim indeed. Berke had witnessed many uprisings against the Golden Horde before, and had crushed most of them himself, often in blood. But he had never before faced a people so unified, so organized, confronting him directly, refusing to yield an inch. If I grant this today, he thought, tomorrow they'll demand more still. They may well grow bold enough to overreach. But refusing carries its own danger. This is not the moment, before I'm even formally enthroned, to clash with them. I'll deal with the consequences later. Granted, he said. What is your third request? Our third request, that the children of slaves, servants, and common people alike be permitted to study at the madrasas. This request struck Berke hard. After founding the Mongol state, Genghis Khan had commissioned a Mongol script based on the Uyghur alphabet, a script meant to record only the history of Genghis Khan himself and the lives of his royal descendants, preserved like a golden book meant to be guarded like the pupil of one's eye for future generations. Only those of royal Genghis Khanid blood held the right to use this script. And now this foolish craftsman was demanding literacy for the common people, as though they were equal to royalty. What greater insult could there be? No. That will not happen, said Berke. The crowd surged closer. The soldiers with bared blades tensed ready. Why not? The man in the blue turban asked. Berke looked out at the crowd once more. The firelight reflected in their furious eyes, their expressions hardened with rage. Very well then, let it be granted as well, Berke said. Come to the temple tomorrow evening, and we shall put today's promises into writing. Will Berke Khan grant the people's 3 requests? Find out in tomorrow's video. Subscribe for more untold stories from the Golden Horde and the age of the great Khans.